Hello and welcome to another YuGiOh video, and today we are taking a look at the Eldlich archetype in its pure form. We're not going for any like Salamangrate or Zodiac version of Eldlich at the moment, but if you have any ideas or you're interested in seeing any of those different variations, then let me know in the comment section down below. And we're going to focus on the main deck. I am going to actually explain and talk through the entire effects of all these cards, because I appreciate there are quite a lot of people out there who are very new to the deck. It has only just been released in the TCG, so it's a big step for us and definitely something that's worth looking into. And you'll notice there are some proxies in this deck, because for some reason, even though there's no competitive events on at the moment, this card has an insane price. So with everything printed, let's get into the main deck. There are actually only 9 monsters in this deck, and we start off with triple Eldlich, the Golden Lord. So this is the big daddy, the boss monster for the deck. And its effect is you can send this card and one spell or trap card from your hand to the graveyard, then target one card on the field and send it to the graveyard. The important thing is it's sending the cards, it's not actually destroying them, which is really crucial for quite a lot of the protection effects that currently exist within the Yu-Gi-Oh meta. Then if this card is in your graveyard, you can send one spell or trap you control to the graveyard, add this card to your hand, then you can special summon one zombie from your hand, and if you do, until the end of your opponent's turn, it gains 1000 attack and defense and cannot be destroyed by card effects. So basically, you send this and something to the graveyard, get rid of something, then revive this. Generally in defense, it becomes a 3800 defense body, which your opponent cannot destroy by card effects, which is nuts. And you can only use each effect of this card once per turn. It is level 10, and that is important for some of the extra deck cards. And it allows you to do some slightly easier OTKs, because you can end up with like 5,000 for 2 of these, plus an extra 1,000 if you use the revival effect. So there's some crazy stuff you can do with that. Then the next monster is Inspector Border. So this deck does not use its normal summon. So people have been looking for various different engines to use as the normal summon for this deck. Inspector Border is absolutely one of the best options. This is very much a control deck. Some people have been experimenting. I know one of my friends has been working on a Luna build, which is the Fairy Tale Luna that adds one and then bounces a card from your opponent. But there are just certain decks where that deck doesn't operate properly. So Border is really the best flat normal summon to deal with most decks. If you're playing a going second build of this, however, you can switch this to something like Denko Sekka or play the Draco lineup. That's another alternative that we've seen people doing. And then for hand traps, just triple Ash Blossom. The most generic of the hand traps, plus it happens to be a zombie, which is sometimes relevant because you can actually play some interesting extra deck stuff for this deck. Then we have triple Cursed Eldland. So this card is a search for the deck. So you cannot declare attacks except with zombie monsters, not really a problem. You can only use each of the following effects of Cursed Eldland once per turn. You can pay 800 life points, add one Eldlich monster, which is the Eldlich Lord, or one golden land spell or trap from your deck to your hand. So 2 different golden land spell or traps within this deck that will be able to search with this. If this card is sent from the spell or trap zone to the graveyard, you can send one Eldlich monster or one golden land spell or trap from your deck to the graveyard. Now it's important to note that when you do put those in the graveyard, as we already know, the Golden Lord is able to revive himself, and the spell or traps all float into alternative versions. So really nice effects from this one. Let's move on to the second important spell, which is triple copies of Elixir of Black Awakening. So the sort of lore behind this involves the 4 elixirs And so far I think only 3 of them have actually been released, and this is the first one we're looking at, which is Black Awakening. So you special summon a zombie monster from your hand or deck in defense position, but if you control no Eldlich monsters, you can only summon Eldlich. It really doesn't matter. Basically, the only one you ever summon is Golden Lord, and this card is really crucial because this is how you control your opponent's board and take away their advantage. But you basically just special summon it from the deck or from your hand. It's not a quick effect though, so not quite as good as some of the other options out there. For the rest of this turn, after this card resolves, you cannot special summon monsters except zombie monsters, really not a problem, and you can banish this card from your graveyard, set 1 golden land, spell or trap directly from your deck. You can only use 1 Elixir of Black Awakening effect per turn and only once that turn, so really not a problem. You use 1 effect to bring out your Golden Lord, and then in the following turn banish it, and you get to set up some of your back row. So this deck just sort of floats like crazy as a result of this, as you'll be seeing for a lot of these effects. The second elixir is, or Eldlich, is Elixir of White Destiny. So you special summon a zombie monster from your hand or graveyard, but if you control no Eldlich monsters, you can only special summon an Eldlich monster. You'll see that with a lot of these effects. For the rest of this turn, after this card resolves, you cannot special summon monsters except zombie monsters, not a problem again, and during your main phase you can banish this card from your graveyard, set 1 golden land, spell or trap directly from your deck. You can only use 1 Elixir of White Destiny effect per turn. So once again we get the elixir turning into a golden land from the deck. Then consistency is crucial, so 1 Upstart Goblin, and then triple Call by the Grave. Sometimes an Ash on this deck can be really impactful. This also has some great application because we expect to see a lot of graveyard reliant decks with the Adamantipator coming out. That's definitely, if you can hit the block dragon, that's really crucial there. It's amazing in the mirror match because removing your opponent's Golden Lord is really important as well. And we're also going to be seeing a lot more of Orcust and Shaddoll, so definitely one that I would not consider playing without at the moment. Then triple Extravagance once again. Sorry about the proxies, guys, but unfortunately, this is the world we live in lockdown. I just cannot trade into these at the moment, and they're pricey. And then this deck has serious problems with going second. That is one of the big issues. The only card within the main deck that's actually really good going second is the Hand Traps and the Eldlich, the Golden Lord. Call by the Grave helps out with that a little bit, but this deck definitely needs some more options for going second, so I've put in triple Super Poly. Now there are so many decks that can put out boards that you just cannot deal with alternatively, so Super Poly is absolutely one of the best ways of breaking the opponent's boards at the moment, often even better than, say, a Sphere Mode or a Nibiru, because Nibiru just is dead as soon as you draw it, unfortunately, whereas this card is always live, and when you go first you can set it as one of your interrupts as well, so really, really great. Plus it takes cards out of your hand and puts them into the graveyard, and since this whole deck floats from the graveyard, it's really, really useful to have that one available. Then onto the trap lineup, so it's pretty hefty from this one. We have the last elixir that's currently printed, which is triple elixir of Scarlet Sanguine, or Red Crimson Blood, I think it was initially translated as something like that, Blood Splatter or something. So you special summon 1 zombie monster from your deck or graveyard, but if you control no Eldlich monsters, only an Eldlich once again, and once again you get locked into the zombies. You can banish this from your graveyard and set a golden land spell trap from your deck. So same as all the elixirs, you can banish it and get another one, and because it is a trap you can start doing this during your opponent's turn, which means you get a lot more floating out. Again, it's another way to bring out your Lord, which is the most important card in the deck. So that's obviously why we play triple of that. Then triple, we're getting into the Golden Lands, Conquistador of the Golden Land. So this just pops a card basically. So what you do is when you flip it up, you special summon this card as a normal monster, which is level 5 light, 500 attack, 1800 defense. So basically it doesn't do an awful lot, but it's level 5 light, that's really important actually. Then if you control Eldlich the Golden Lord, you can destroy 1 face-up card on the field. So a lot of this deck you're just trying to get out your Eldlich and then resolve your Golden Land cards to gain advantage. Now keep in mind that is a trap effect, so it does allow you to get rid of an opposing Mystic Mine as well. During the end phase you can banish this card from your graveyard, set 1 Eldlixir spell or trap from your deck. So while the Eldlixirs bring out the Golden Land cards, the Golden Land cards bring out the Eldlixirs, so you have a nice little loop with the two here. And the other Golden Land card we play is Hakero of the Golden Land. which is essentially a DD Crow. So once again, you special summon it as a normal monster, level 5 light, but this time 1800 attacks and 1500 defense. It's still treated as a trap card. Then if you control Eldlich the Golden Lord, you can banish one card from either graveyard. So essentially DD Crow, really nice this one, and it's searchable because of the elixirs. During the end phase, you can banish this card from your graveyard, set an elixir. You can only use one of these cards' effect per turn and only once that turn, but really not a problem, as I said, because these are trap cards. You can use their effects in your opponent's turn, and then in your turn you can use the effect to reset or just use the alternative turns to give yourself extra advantage with these cards. So very, very nice from there. The final Golden Land card is actually Golden Land Forever, the only counter trap from the archetype so far, but when a spell or trap or monster effect is activated, and while you control an Eldlich monster, just tribute one zombie monster, negate the activation, and if you do, destroy that card. You can only activate this once per turn. I think you only need the one of this because generally the rest of your deck provides you the advantage. This is just to stop your opponent from breaking apart your boards. But the fact that this is a searchable Omni Negate, just the same as like Crescendo and stuff, is really, really good. So definitely one worth playing. Potentially you can play this at 2 as well if you feel the need. And then obviously it's a control deck, so triple judgment. You just need ways to play through like an evenly matched and stuff like that. So this is absolutely the best card for that. And then finally for the rest of the deck, just 2 copies of There Can Be Only One. So you do have ways around like playing with this, because you can use like your Eldlich Lord to get rid of this and then add it to the hand, and then because it carries on from there, then you can summon it. So there's some really cool stuff that you can play around with There Can Be Only One. It's also better than Summon Limit when you're going second. However, obviously Summon Limit is a better card, so there's a lot of discussion in the Eldritch community about whether you should play this or Summon Limit. I'm just going with this because I think the deck struggles much more going second, and this is the better of the 2 cards when you're going second. But obviously you can cater your side deck to specifically going first and stuff like that. So it is a 40 card main deck, and the extra deck I'm not going to talk about too much. Because you are playing Extravagance, you do have to try and play 3 elves of everything that's crucial. So and because your Golden Lord is level 10, it allows you to make the Gustav Max. So absolutely play 3 Gustav Max, but everything else is sort of up for debate. A lot of people are suggesting that you play Constellar Pleiades, which is a great option because your traps become level 5 light monsters. So this is one of the best monsters you can make with 2 level 5 lights. Some other great options are things like Volcasaurus for burning when you need to get some extra damage on the board. Because this build is playing Super Polymerization, I'm also recommending Dragostopelia, World Chalice Guardragon Almaduke, and Salamangreat Violet Chimera. This one can potentially definitely change, but at the moment Salamangreat is still a very popular choice, so I'm absolutely keeping that one in. Vampire Sucker is an interesting one, but not necessary. I think generally keeping your Golden Lord on the board is slightly better than the advantage you generate from Vampire Sucker, but sometimes your hands are just so bad that you have to play this card anyway. And because your traps are level 5 light and you're playing Ash Blossom, you can make level 8, so Omega is obviously the best option from there. And finally, one that I don't think I've seen anyone bring up because it's a little bit more difficult to summon is Stellar Knight Constellar Diamond. So you need 3 or more level 5 light monsters to summon this, but it has a great effect that basically shuts off dark monsters, so really one that I would recommend if you have the opportunity to find this and fit it into your deck. But that's it for this Golden Lord deck profile. Let me know if you're interested in seeing any test hands or matches with this deck, or if you'd like to see some alternative variations. Like I know there's the Draco, the Zodiac versions of this deck, loads of different variations on Eldlich. So if you're interested in seeing those as well, let me know in the comment section, and I'll see you guys in the next video.